Today, Ash Wednesday, marks the beginning of Lent. For many of us, we may be thinking about what we'll be giving up during Lent, our annual fast of chocolate and biscuits perhaps. But Ash Wednesday signifies so much more than that. In ordinary times, which seem a long time ago now, we would have heard those powerful words as an ash cross is marked on our forehead. Remember that you are dust, and to dust ye shall return. Turn away from sin and be faithful to Christ. We would then have been sent out into the world as visible witnesses to our Christian faith. So let's just think about those two sentences for a moment. Remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return. We hear these words as first the vertical line of the cross is made down our forehead. Today we intentionally focus on our own mortality, our own sense of brokenness and sin, the tension in our life, the distance that we may feel from God at times, but also the brokenness of all that is around us, society, the environment, the lives of others, the many victims of neglect and abuse, those who have been neglected by society. So this is part one, holding a mirror up at ourselves and society, recognizing the brokenness and naming it. Then, as the horizontal line is made across our forehead to complete the cross, we hear, turn away from sin and be faithful to Christ. This is the second part. Having seen the reality of our inner self and the world around us, how do we now act? We are being called to turn away from sin, from all that distances us from God, and intentionally turn towards Christ. There is now an outward focus, and fasting becomes so much more than an internal self-fulfilling pious exercise, but rather through that recognition, we see things for how they really are, and we now turn and act. The prophet Isaiah says, "The kind of fasting I want is this: remove the chains of oppression and the yoke of injustice, and let the oppressed go free. Share your food with the hungry, and open your home to the homeless poor. Give clothes to those who have nothing to wear, and do not refuse to help your own relative." Our turning, our noticing, our repentance, our action. It cuts across the brokenness, and then God's grace bursts through. It doesn't take away the pain and brokenness that we may feel at times. It might not stop bad things happening, but it names it, it acknowledges it, it breaks through and lessens the grip of power that the dark stuff of life has over us. Yet it also brings into sharp focus our own perceptions, our judgments, our responses to those less fortunate. Could we do more as individuals, as a society? And how do we do that more? Self-awareness and self-examination are all part of the stripping away, the fasting, or a phrase I came across recently, a holy detox. This process happens in order that we can see more clearly and give out more abundantly. So when we talk about a Lenten fast, rather than thinking of fast as simply what we will give up, let's see it more as a stripping back, a holy detox, so we can see things for what they really are, name them, and then do something about them. So I end with this quote, which is attributed to Pope Francis, and I think perfectly sums up how we need to recognise brokenness in order to see more clearly and give out more abundantly. So it says this: do you want to fast this Lent? Fast from hurting words and say kind words. Fast from sadness and be filled with gratitude. Fast from anger and be filled with patience. Fast from pessimism and be filled with hope. Fast from worries and trust in God. Fast from complaints and contemplate simplicity. Fast from pressures and be prayerful. Fast from bitterness and fill your heart with joy. Fast from selfishness and be compassionate to others. Fast from grudges and be reconciled. Fast from words and be silent so you can listen.